Are you going places or left behind without a travel companion? Listen to how you can travel more independently. Dr. Mary Travelbest will bring you the best tips and her travel mistakes so you can benefit.
Welcome to Dr. Mary Travelbest's Independent Travel Guide. This is for women who travel, who want to travel, and especially for those who want to travel independently. I wrote and published the best-selling book, CD, and website, The World's First Guide to Independent Travel, and since 1993, I've been running a marketing business, raising 4 children with my husband, and been a university professor while traveling. These travel experiences are necessary tools, so I want to share them so you make your trip the very best, like Travelbest. In this episode, the FAQ is, how do I ride the subway? The destination is New York City, Part 1. The lesson learned is eating hot, spicy foods. And the tip is give wildlife their space too. So now the FAQ. How do I ride the subway? And the answer is, for those listeners in rural areas, you may have never been exposed to a subway. So this is for you. You've seen the movies mostly of people jumping over the turnstiles and not paying the fare. Don't let those fool you. You need to pay to ride the subway. Seniors usually get discounted fares, so look up that in the city where you are heading in advance. Most city subway systems have an app with the map, so download that. Most subway systems are forgiving. If you forget to get off at your destination, you can get off at the next stop and take the train back. Some subways, like Washington, D.C. or Atlanta, for example, allow you to take your bicycle on the subway at no extra cost. This can make for better travel and convenience. For those who just want to get somewhere now and then, but fast, this is the way to go. And now for today's episode, destination, New York City, Part 1. Dr. Travelbest shares some of her experiences in New York. That's me growing up there and traveling there solo at age 15 for 3 weeks. My parents and siblings moved to Chicago in the middle of my 9th grade school year, so they allowed me to buy my own plane ticket and go back to visit that summer by myself. It was only my second ever plane trip. I was so nervous and frightened, but I knew that if I wanted to go see my friends, I'd have to do this solo. When I landed at the airport in New York City, I learned new skills and traveled well. It was the beginning of a life on the road enjoying travel. In New York City, you can do a lot of things because touristy things are easy to access. This city is used to big crowds like Times Square for New Year's celebrations. My favorite part of New York life is going to Broadway shows, especially matinees. Every time I visit, I try to get to different theaters and take in the action. Just walking around the theater district is quite interesting for a traveler with an independent mindset. There are plenty of museums in New York City, and they are easy to find on your own. The subway system is efficient and available, so travelers should be comfortable using it. What museums should you visit? These are my favorite ones, and all easy to get to in Manhattan. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, MoMA, the Museum of Natural History, and don't forget the Statue of Liberty. That's the symbol of freedom that each of us in the United States has been given. However, there's a smaller sized Statue of Liberty in Tokyo. Did you know that? Central Park is a don't miss part of New York City. Stroll through the park in the daytime, and you'll see all kinds of groups, families, and people walking or biking for fun. Stay tuned for part 2 of New York City. Now for the lesson learned. Hot, spicy foods while traveling. When I travel, I've learned the hard way about eating hot, spicy foods. I don't. I've tried to swallow some hot sauce, pizza with hot peppers, chili relleno that's hot and spicy, and other seasonings. I prefer no spice. It may sound boring, but I learned my lesson the hard way. Now I just say no, and that is empowering too. In the US, people are using much more spice than they used to. This is changing due to immigration from Asia and Latin America. For others, spices can be a way to broaden your global horizons. And now for today's travel advice. Give wildlife their space. Those dangerous animals likely are dangerous. If you are seeing wildlife that's too close for comfort, your brain is trying to keep you alive. Step back and leave what you're doing and get away. There will always be another chance to get close with a beast, bird, or insect. Be alert, and no selfie with an animal is worth dying over. What's on your bucket list? I want to bring meaning to your travel. So send me your travel tip or question to my Facebook page, group, Instagram, Twitter, or blog, and maybe you'll see your tips in my next travel book on independent destinations. What's on your travel bucket list?
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travelbest, that is.